Kneecap, lame, sellout, pussies. Okay, everybody needs to calm down as well. And like they were, they were on the verge of going to prison. Okay, calm down. They're still, you know, they're still eating a lot of damage here. The entirety of the music industry literally got up in arms and started bitching at them. What's your take on Kneecap bending the knee to Zionism? Oh, you mean that saying that they're not, that they condemn Hamas and Hezbollah? Yeah, of course they're going to say that, dude. What are you talking about? You'll go to prison. Like, yeah, it is what it is, you know? At that level, at their level, especially as they're up-and-comers, like, yeah, of course they're going to be like, yeah, it's really bad and scary. They're doing terrorism. I'm so scared of terrorism. I'm so sorry for saying this is, it's like funny because their name is Kneecap. Like, what do you guys think that, where do you guys think that name comes from? Where do you think that name comes from? It comes from the policy of the IRA shooting someone in the fucking knee, you know? It is what it is. Look, I understand it. You know, it is what it is. No one's gonna come out and be like, you know, no one's gonna run around being like they love Hamas and they love Hezbollah. That's it. They're just not gonna do that. Especially people who aren't like anonymous Twitter accounts or like someone who is academic or someone who has the capacity to like explain what their position is. Someone like myself, I still get yelled at all the time. They'll be like, "Oh, dude, you love Hamas and Hezbollah," and it's like my explanation for why, my explanation for how I talk about it is pretty obvious. Like, of course, resistance groups are going to exist as a direct consequence of the much larger, much greater evil of Israel and the United States of America. It is the reality. You don't have to agree with all of their methods or even their domestic affairs, but the reality of the matter is, like, if you don't want any sort of reaction or retaliation, well, you can't just like keep melting people. Okay, that's the reality. Like, I think Yanis Varoufakis does a pretty good job of talking about this stuff, but again, that's Yanis Varoufakis. You know what I mean? He's not Kneecap. It's just, it is what it is. You have to do your condom hummus. You have to do your 15 condom hummus before you, you know, before they let you speak. Where was it? I saw Yanis's take on this. I think Squirrel posted about it, but it's like, the question always is, who do you think is the villain here? Who do you think is, do you think it's the violent resistance against the apartheid state, or do you think it's the state that's doing the apartheid and also doing a genocide on top of that? It's the state doing the apartheid and doing the, okay? Yeah, violence begets violence. There's going to be an inevitable reaction to the 76 years of occupation. It's no different than demanding that you condemn the Nat Turner Rebellion or demanding that you condemn the Haitian Revolution, demanding that you condemn the ANC, the FLN, the IRA over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's just like, it's just a way to try and desperately move the conversation back into a place where Israel is seemingly the victim. It's bullshit. Yeah. Kneecap, lame, sellout, pussies. Okay, everybody needs to calm down as well. And like they were on the verge of going to prison. Okay, calm down. They're still, you know, they're still eating a lot of damage here. The entirety of the music industry literally got up in arms and started bitching at them. And then it didn't end there. They literally turned around and got Israel advocacy organizations to demand actual investigations, like criminal investigations. It's illegal, okay? It's straightforwardly illegal.
Those who try very hard to extract from people like me, from DM25, a condemnation of the attack by the Hamas guerrillas, will never get it. And they will never get it for a very simple reason. Those who care about humans without any discrimination, those who care equally about a Jew and an Arab, must ask themselves a very simple question. What exactly is their idea of the cessation of hostilities. That Palestinians are going to lay down their
Didn't
arms
other artists voice their
go back
support
to-
on stage? Yeah, it's different. They found look, the real story is they said Israel free Palestine on their post in Coachella, and then that caused everyone to do the classic thing where they use a fine-tooth comb to find any moment or anything that they've ever said that they could remotely use against them, to find old footage of them in a concert. I forget where it was, where they were saying like up Hamas, up Hezbollah, and then that is what created a British investigation, and for that reason they had to, you know, back down and be like, yo, my bad, we don't condone, we condemn Hamas, we condemn Hezbollah. Like, of course they're gonna do that. The MP is the major thing. That's why MPs are blasting them. Wait, I didn't even see that they said MP. They got the HasanAbi treatment, but the difference is they're not political commentators, they're musicians. So obviously, regardless of their political perspective, regardless of their political framework, like, their major output is not this. This is all I do, so I can explain my positions over and over again, regardless of how much people clip me out of context, you know?
Into the largest open-air prison in the world, where they are constantly suffocated by the state. In other words, back in South Africa, in the era of... what was the problem? Was it that some members of the black resistance, including the ANC, but not only the ANC, took up arms against the South African regime and sometimes innocent people? Was that the problem? No, the problem was whether it's practiced in South Africa or in Palestine or Israel, is always going to procure violence, because it's a violent, misanthropic system. Any human being living under at some point will either die a terrible, silent death or rebel and often take innocent people with them. The criminals here are not Hamas, not even the Israeli settlers who are Palestinians. The criminals are Europeans, us. Every single member of our German society, our French society, our Greek society, our United States society, we have participated in this crime against humanity over the decades by keeping our mouths shut as long as there is no trouble down there, as long as people are dying outside the reach of cameras, as long as it's Palestinians who die and not the occupiers. So,
this is so funny. We'll be like, I know it's objectively cowardly to backtrack. Okay, you go tell your boss right now that he's facilitating, he's playing a formative role in, I don't know, the Israeli regime. Like, many people don't realize that the dynamic is, when you're a public figure, the dynamic is obviously different. You have to play a balanced role, okay? You have to play a balanced role. Don't say not even the same thing. It is the same thing. It's just like, it's literally the same thing. The reason why you don't say that in your place of work is for the same reasons why they had to back down. You know what I mean? And that is when they, as artists, they have a lot more leeway, but there's still artists who are in the UK at the end of the day, or go to the UK at the end of the day. And it was like some of the Irish, some of the Irish politicians were even coming after them, which was crazy. The grifter. As an Arab living in the Middle East, I think condemning Hamas is an important distinction that should be made. I know a distressingly large number of Arabs that support Hamas because they harm Jews. Yeah, okay, dude. I'm sure that's the reason. Yeah. What do you mean, what? Like, this is such a stupid position to have, the grifter. I mean, I'm sure some people like them because they themselves are anti-Semitic. There's people in America that like Palestinian resistance because they are, like, the people that are supporting it are anti-Semitic themselves. They don't give a shit about Israel generally. They don't really give a shit about the Palestinians generally. They just care about, like, shitting on Jews. But having said that, the notion that, like, people support Palestinian resistance across the board, they do so because they're anti-Semitic, and like these guys are harming Jews is so fucking stupid. I would want to know if people around me like terrorists or care about Palestinians. Brother, are you new here? What's going on? Are you okay? There's a guy for everything. I know. Listen, you don't have to love Hamas. You don't have to want to hug and kiss Hamas. The reality of the matter is you have to recognize that they are the only game in town due to an unlimited amount of bombing and assassinations that the Israeli state is engaged in over the course of the past 76 years of its fucking occupation. Okay? What do you mean? Oh, do people love terrorists? Or do people care about Palestinians? Like, what? In the eyes of Israel, everyone is Hamas. Every baby that gets killed in a bombing campaign is Hamas. It does not fucking matter. They do not make this distinction. I don't know why you think you're making this distinction. There is no real fucking distinction here. Arab card revoked. Yeah.
This incredible tragedy.
Like, people, for the record, people do go above and beyond. You know what I mean? People do go above and beyond. Like, you're in the Western world. Calm down. Okay? I say this all the time. Like, you live in the Western world. Calm the fuck down. You know, you're getting horny. Sometimes I hear, like when Palestinians are coming out and protesting, right? Many of them are protesting against the apartheid. Every single one of them is still saying, like, you know, Israel is the #1 villain here. But like, some are protesting against Hamas. People are like, oh, how dare these guys protest against Hamas? It's like, well, you're a white guy living in the West, okay? Those guys, on the other hand, have to live there. Obviously, there's going to be discontent in the process. Like, it's just, I don't give a shit about who is running Palestine. I give a shit about ending the occupation, okay? I want Palestinians to have autonomy. I want Palestinians to have sovereignty. That's my argument, okay? I'm not like, oh, it has to be Hamas. Having said that, like, there has been a lot of like, a lot of the concessions that Hamas has made as the leading figurehead in the resistance movement, in the militancy. They have said that they would remove themselves from power and allow for democracy to take place in Palestine. That's not like a thing that they are opposed to. So, you know, I agree with that position. So that's what I want. I want an end to the occupation. I want an end to the apartheid. I want there to be a single solitary state in the future, hopefully with equal rights and equal representation, a Truth and Reconciliation Committee to be set up where war criminals are punished, where reparations are offered, where there's a right to return for Palestinians. People say these are pie in the sky ideas, but these are still this is still the morally correct position, you know? If you don't like Hamas, then eliminate the actual reason for Hamas to exist, because Hamas is just a name. There's always going to be a militant resistance against an endless amount of violence that is a necessity for the maintenance of an apartheid. You understand? It's perfectly normal for people to say, well, okay, you killed my parents, you killed my cousins, you blew up my school, you blew up my mosque, I'm starving, I'm gonna fucking take up arms against you. That is the most normal position of all time. And it doesn't even matter how old you are at that point. You're like, okay, I can't wait to get older so I can fucking grab weapons and join whatever new formation that exists. Let's say they kill every single person that is in Hamas. Okay, there is gonna be a Hamas too. There's gonna be something else. Just like Hamas wasn't the only game in town initially. It used to be the PLO, which also were secular, and yet they were still branded as terrorists, scary, violent terrorists. I can't believe we're, 17 months in at this point, and people are still confused about this process. It's crazy. It's crazy. I know we're having a serious conversation, but you got that shit on respectfully. Hey, yo, thank you. It is not just Hamas who were invested in the 10-7. Yeah, of course. It was the entirety of the Palestinian militancy, including like former Fatah groups as well. Like they had DFLP, PFLP, Palestinian Islamic Jihad. They had criminal elements that fucking penetrated the barrier as well once it was broken. Like that wasn't just Hamas, Isn't it legal to resist apartheid? I mean, it's not legal according to Israel. It is legal according to international law. It's not legal to kidnap people, though. It's not legal to open fire on civilians. It's not legal to kidnap people. The reality of the matter is, like, a lot of the things that unfolded on October 7 in the hands of the Hamas-led coalition of Palestinian resistance was atrocities. It's true. This is real. That's not, I think saying that is not saying that is not a ridiculous position. It's like saying the Nat Turner rebellion was horrifying, okay? Because it was. But at the end of the day, what do you think about when you think about the abolition of chattel slavery? You think about the abolition of chattel slavery. You think about how horrifying and cruel of a practice it was to literally have slaves. You don't think about the slave rebellions that took place and how violent that rebellion was. When you think about the Holocaust, you don't turn around and go, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. Well, you sure killed a bunch of Germans in the process. How dare you? No one says that. Everyone thinks about how fucking horrifying the Holocaust was because everybody understands in the rearview mirror that violence begets violence, and that the more violent a process becomes, the more violent a process becomes in terms of the justifications for an apartheid, the regular daily maintenance of said apartheid, the more violent that resistance is going to look like. That's it. And it's crazy because, like, people, you know, when you say this, people go, nah, that's fucked up. Unacceptable. Unacceptable, dude. What is this? Isn't the UK law super strict with things like terrorism too? Didn't a guy get arrested for dressing his pug like Hitler? Dude, I need you guys to understand something here. Western liberalism is dead. Okay, Western liberal democracy as a project was already a theoretical one regardless, but it is totally fucking dead. I'll give you a great example of this, okay? What is the heart of Western liberal democracy? The major defenders of Western liberal democracy. It's post-Nazi Germany, right? Let me tell you. Let me tell you what the German courts have done. The German courts, if you remember, there was I'll show you. The Ausländer aus. A while back, there was a court case in the German courts because there was a video where a bunch of wealthy German libs were singing an AfD song that is a neo-Nazi song, basically saying foreigners out, Germany for Germans. Do we have the video? Does anyone have that video? Remember? It's very catchy. It's really fucking annoying. Whenever I hear it, it gets stuck in my head. But basically, they were singing like foreigners out, Germany for Germans. Now, in Germany, that is illegal. That is just straightforwardly illegal. Okay? La mort de jeurs. Okay. Yeah, so this is a neo-Nazi slogan from the AfD party, and this is, people were singing it, and it was shocking for a lot of people in Germany because these were actually liberals singing it, because previously the AfD was like formerly working class people, poor people, the Lumpenproles and whatnot. Liberals, for the most part, rich liberals, especially in Germany, were not entertaining these sorts of things, right? They were not entertaining these sorts of things, especially not in this wealthy, here it is. Not in this like wealthy enclave where the children of German elite society were entertaining such reactionary neo-Nazi perspectives. So this video actually went super viral and Germany freaked the fuck out over this. Like, this guy's literally doing the mustache and the fucking hand. You know what I mean? He was going full Hitler, okay? This is beyond what Elon did. You know what I mean? He even did the mustache. Like, what are we doing? Right? And so this was tried in the courts because it's like heavily illegal. And there was, I believe, a person that actually lost their job because they were working with a politician as well. And so this was like shocking. This shocked Germany to the core because, yeah, these are rich kids on the island of Silt. Only rich people go there on holidays, mostly Germans. So that was what was so unique about it. All of a sudden, it's not just like a Berlin working class German attitude where the AfD is now getting a lot of play out of like these wealthy societal elites. Holy shit, right? The first girl that was in the video lost her job. She was working for a politician, I believe. In any case, The German courts prosecuted this to the full extent of the law, except in that prosecution that this is actually fine. Now, the same German courts a week prior successfully prosecuted another German for holding up a sign at a pro-Palestinian rally. So Germany now uses their hate speech statute that was specifically designed to be anti-Nazi, right? Germany is now using that hate speech statute against pro-Palestinian demonstrators. That they've been using it against them over and over again. And the reason why this person got prosecuted, I need you to understand, it's so fucked up. The reason why this person got prosecuted was because he had a banner that said, "Have we learned nothing from the Holocaust?" That, to me, demonstrates the utter depravity, the double standard of Western liberal democracies, how willing they are to utilize their supposed liberal anti-hate speech statutes exclusively to squash political opposition when people are making the correct point. Here it is. Here's James Jackson. Breaking: a pro-Palestine activist was convicted in Berlin for incitement to racial hatred for asking, haven't we learned nothing from the Holocaust? This was successfully prosecuted in the German courts. I said, actively trying to manage the unfavorability of an apartheid state that's doing a live stream child Holocaust has collapsed the already limited credibility the West had about defending liberal democratic values. This is always the same principle. Kneecap can't say up Hamas, up Hezbollah in a concert 2 years ago, or open up a banner that says fuck Israel, free Palestine, without getting a counterterrorism suit launched against them. But pro-Israel people can literally wear an IDF dog tag, prominently display it, talk about how Arabs deserve less, talk about how Arabs deserve death, talk about how Arabs deserve the genocide, admit that Israel is doing a genocide only if you're defending that Israel is doing said genocide. And none of that is an issue. This is the dual standard. This is the double standard prominently in display because Israel is the client state here. Israel gets to do whatever the fuck it wants. That's it. There's no way to get around this. It's very obvious. It's very obvious that these guys are willing to throw away everything, and even the aesthetics of caring about liberal values, specifically to defend Israel's genocide of the Palestinians. Okay? When you have this much motion, are you really the client state? Yes. Yes. They still very much are the client state. Hasan on me. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Here. A demonstrator was convicted of incitement to hatred by a Berlin district court for her protest sign, "Have we learned nothing from the Holocaust?" Because she allegedly trivialized the Holocaust by expressing fear for the innocent civilians in Gaza, she must pay a 1,600 euro fine. It is as absurd as it sounds. The mere question of whether we should pursue responsibility for never again genocide, while a genocide is being committed with German support, is supposed to constitute a criminal offense, complete insanity. But the insanity doesn't stop there, because that same German court, like the same German judicial system, justice system, unironically let the previous incident go. They found it permissible. They found it permissible for these rich liberal kids to fucking sing Ausländer raus, Ausländer raus, the AfD slogan, foreigners out. That is allowed. Okay? That is allowed in Germany. That's not a hate speech. That's not triggering hate speech. Ironically enough, the hate speech statute was directly created for that purpose. It was directly created for that purpose. So that Germans don't fucking start chirping about being Nazis. I'm trying to find the article from James Jackson, who covers, a lot of what's going on in German news. So, oh, never mind. Here it is. A second sign read, "No to the murder of 8,500 civilians currently in Gaza. Between the time of the protests and the condemnation, the number of Palestinians killed in Gaza increased by 700%. So let me answer this question. No, we clearly learned little to nothing from the Holocaust, and certainly not the right things. But what's the latest? I want to see. I wanna see the, yeah, here it is. What is this? German island to end ritual of spanking women with cow horn. Okay, chatter. Just show me the latest on the fucking other court case for these guys, okay? The Germany investigates foreigners out chants at the village festival in Slit. Just to give the full picture, the court said that singing this alone is not enough to get prosecuted, but the guy making the mustache and hand sign will be. Incredible. Oh, here it is. Investigations into the Slit scandal video concluded. Encampment on the island of Slit, partygoers shouted racist slogans. The video from 2024 caused outrage nationwide. Now the public prosecutor's office has closed the investigation against 3 people, and a penal order has been issued against 1 man. So, or Sult, not Slit. Okay, sorry. Sult. Yeah. There it is. They don't consider singing Rausländer raus to be a serious thing, but they have all the interest in prosecuting this. Have we learned nothing from the Holocaust? Understand, this double standard exists in every facet of Western, in every facet of these supposed theoreticalist Western democracies. So that is the situation that is in front of us. So of course, public figures make public figures oftentimes will find themselves on this tightrope. The reason why I covered all of this is because Kneecap came out with a statement being like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for Hamas," or whatever the fuck they said. I don't know what it was. Hold on, let me see. And everyone is now dunking on them. What was the statement initially? They've had basically like their visa taken away in America. They can't tour the United States anymore, most likely, even though they have a sold out tour in the US that's supposed to happen in the fall. They got a counterterrorism investigation launched against them. All of this started because of the Coachella set that I live streamed for them, by the way. Their Berlin show got canceled forcibly by the government. It's fucking insane, dude. It is fucking insane. So your haters saw it and reported them? No, it's not my haters, dude. Are you kidding me? It's fucking like... Bro, Ozzy Osbourne's wife was involved in this. Are you kidding me? They were writing articles everywhere, dude. These guys were freaking the fuck out. They're like, I can't believe that they would make a political statement as a political music group. I can't believe they made a political statement. Listen, the reality of the matter is that, yeah, you say fuck Israel, free Palestine, they're gonna be up your asshole, okay? They're gonna demand you get fucking fired. One speed, baby. One speed, okay? Israel defenders have one fucking speed. And the more desperate they get, the more aggressive they get with their silencing of any sort of criticism against Israel. It is what it is. This is part of the reason why I will always use my platform, as long as I have one, to speak the truth. Kneecap statement. They want you to believe words are more harmful than genocide. Establishment figures desperate to silence us have combed through hundreds of hours of footage and interviews, extracting a handful of words from months or years ago to manufacture moral hysteria. Let's be unequivocal. We do not and have never supported Hamas or Hezbollah. We condemn all attacks on civilians always. It is never okay. We know this more than anyone given our nation's history. We also reject any suggestion that we would seek to incite violence against an MP or individual ever. An extract of footage deliberately taken out of context is now being exploited and weaponized as if it were a call for action. This distortion is not only absurd, it is a transparent effort to derail the real conversation. All 2 million Palestinian people in Gaza are currently being starved to death by Israel. At least 20,000 children in Gaza have been killed. The British government continues to supply arms to Israel, even after scores of NHS doctors warned Keir Starmer, Kid Starver, in August that children were being systematically executed with sniper shots to the head. What is this? You need to address this. Kaya, after saying slurs into the mic. Kaya would never do that. Also, when she says slurs, she says it in Chinese because she's Chinese. Instead of defending innocent people or the principles of international law, the powerful in Britain have abetted slaughter and famine. This is where real anger and outrage should be directed towards. To the MS and Cox families who sent our heartfelt apologies. We never intended to cause you hurt. I don't know what this is. Are these like hostage families or something? Is that what it is? What is the MS and Cox families? I don't even know what that one is. Does anyone know in the chat? Oh, families of murdered MPs. UK MPs who were assassinated? That never happened, and if it did, it was Chinese. Yeah. Joe Cox was an MP killed by a far-right psycho. Kneecap's message has always been and remains one of love, inclusion, and hope. This is why our music resonates across generations, countries, classes, and cultures, and has brought hundreds of thousands of people to our gigs. No smear campaign will change that. Suddenly, days after calling the U.S. administration the at Coachella to applause and solidarity. There's an avalanche of outrage and condemnation by the political classes of Britain. The real crimes are not in our performances. The real crimes are the silence and complicity of those in power. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent statement. I understand why they said what they said, you know. What is this? Irish band Kneecap have apologized to the families of murdered MPs after footage emerged of one of its members appearing to say, "Kill your local MP." Kneecap allegedly said a good Tory is a dead Tory. I guess they're apologizing for that. Yeah, I mean, I get why they would have to apologize for that. Come on. I mean, dude, I didn't even say that and people still yelled at me and I apologized. Like when I said that if the Republican Party was serious about combating Medicare fraud, that they would, you know, penalize their own ranks. Rick Scott. Harvard promises changes after reports on anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. The two reports, which run hundreds of pages, come at a difficult time for the university, which is suing the Trump administration over federal funding cuts. Bro is playing with us? What do you mean? It's crazy world as regimes and countries and international organizations approve Israel as a genocidal state and apartheid state and now being judged at the highest Supreme Court and their genocide is streamed live. But how can these students or a music band say this is insane? I know. I think it's fucking ridiculous. And I think it is utterly depraved that we are having these sorts of conversations. It's all being ramped up. But that is precisely the reason why you have to be very careful in your advocacy no matter what. And I, as someone who is pretty fucking careful in my advocacy, still literally routinely get fucking yelled at for being the number one Hasan Nasrallah supporter. They will say that I am Hasan Nasrallah. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, whatever. I don't give a shit. Say whatever the fuck you want. Who cares? You know? It's not going to change the reality. It's not going to magically make people go, oh, you know what? This baby murder is appropriate, actually. Thank you for doing all of the unlimited child Holocaust, Israel. That was fantastic. You know? That's it. I'm super careful. And it doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter. People still go fucking nutty mode over it. Okay? You were featured in another Sky News Australia Lefties Are Losing It segment? No way. This dude.